What if the dream life you built so carefully became impossible to escape? For the Beckhams, the family brand that once defined perfection may now be their greatest burden. Join us as we examine how a marketing triumph slowly transformed into a gilded cage. Before we dive in, this is CurlyCurl Pop Culture Explained. If you love unpacking celebrity myths, media power, and the stories behind the spectacle, you're in the right place, so make sure you subscribe. In the early 2000s, long before influencer became a job title and personal branding was a strategic industry, David and Victoria Beckham quietly engineered what would become one of the most powerful celebrity brands of the modern era. Brand Beckham was not simply about fame, it was an aspiration machine, selling a lifestyle that blended talent, fashion, family, and global appeal. In doing so, the Beckhams became the blueprint for celebrity branding in the 21st century. At the core of Brand Beckham was strategic duality. David Beckham represented elite sporting excellence, an English footballer with working-class roots who rose to global superstardom through talent, discipline, and emotional vulnerability. Victoria Beckham, initially known as Posh Spice, embodied fashion, glamour, and cultural capital. Together, they merged two worlds, sport and pop culture, creating a cross-market appeal that few celebrities had achieved before. Their relationship itself became a narrative product, consumed by tabloids and fans alike. Crucially, the Beckhams mastered controlled visibility. They were omnipresent, yet carefully curated. In an era dominated by tabloids rather than social media, they understood how to balance exposure with mystique. High-profile moments, weddings, fashion shoots, World Cup appearances were counterbalanced by narratives of family life and resilience, particularly during moments of public crisis, such as Beckham's 1998 World Cup red card or the intense media scrutiny of their marriage. These moments humanized the brand, transforming criticism into sympathy and loyalty. The early 2000s also marked a shift in celebrity economics, and the Beckhams were ahead of the curve. David Beckham moved from being just an athlete to becoming a global commercial platform. Endorsements with Adidas, Pepsi, Armani, and later, his move to LA Galaxy were not isolated deals, they were brand extensions. His football career became one element of a broader portfolio that included fashion, fragrance, philanthropy, and global ambassadorship. Victoria Beckham's evolution further cemented the blueprint. Rather than remaining fixed as a former pop star, she reinvented herself as a serious fashion designer. This transition was critical. It signaled that Brand Beckham was not built on nostalgia, but on reinvention and longevity. Her fashion label, while not always financially smooth, contributed cultural legitimacy and elevated the brand from celebrity spectacle to luxury lifestyle. What made Brand Beckham especially powerful was its aspirational coherence. The Beckhams sold an idealized version of modern success: global mobility, multicultural sophistication, disciplined ambition, and a polished family image. They were relatable enough to feel human, yet distant enough to feel elite. This balance would later become the gold standard for celebrity branding in the age of Instagram and TikTok. Ultimately, the Beckhams didn't just participate in celebrity culture, they professionalized it. They demonstrated that fame could be managed like a corporation, with long-term strategy, narrative control, and brand alignment across industries. Today's influencers, athlete entrepreneurs, and celebrity founders, from Ronaldo to the Kardashians, operate within a framework the Beckhams helped define. In the early 2000s, Brand Beckham showed the world that aspiration could be engineered. And in doing so, it transformed celebrity from something you were into something you built. The early image of David and Victoria Beckham was not accidental. It was a masterclass in modern image construction. At a time when celebrity culture was rapidly expanding, but still largely mediated through traditional media, the Beckhams crafted an identity that felt both deeply relatable and impossibly aspirational. This delicate balance is what made them feel less like celebrities and more like a modern royal family, visible, admired, discussed, but ultimately untouchable. At the heart of their appeal was aspiration without alienation. David Beckham's story was rooted in working-class Britain, a football-mad boy from East London who made it through talent and obsession. Victoria, while polished and fashion-forward, came from a recognizably suburban background and rose through pop stardom rather than inherited privilege. Their success felt earned. Audiences could see themselves in their origins, even if they could never access their final destination. Yet the Beckhams were never too accessible. Their image was defined by perfection: stylish homes, flawless appearances, beautiful children, and carefully curated public moments. This perfection was not chaotic or excessive. It was controlled, symmetrical, and elegant. Matching outfits, coordinated appearances, and polished red carpet moments reinforced the sense that they were operating on a higher plane. Like royalty, they appeared disciplined, united, and visually symbolic of success. What made this especially effective was the tension between relatability and distance. The Beckhams allowed the public glimpses into their private life, family photographs, affectionate interviews, moments of vulnerability, but never full access. Even their struggles, such as media scrutiny or professional setbacks, were framed as tests of character rather than failures. This echoed the way royal families are perceived: human enough to evoke empathy, but shielded enough to preserve mystique. Fashion played a critical role in establishing this royal aura. Victoria's evolution into a style icon and David's willingness to experiment with masculinity, sarongs, hairstyles, grooming made them cultural tastemakers rather than followers. They didn't just wear trends, they validated them. Their visual presentation became a language of power, modernity, and global sophistication. Importantly, their family unit was central to the image. The Beckhams were presented as devoted parents, balancing immense success with domestic stability. In an era fascinated by celebrity breakdowns and scandals, this consistency made them aspirational not just as individuals, but as a unit. They embodied the fantasy of having it all without appearing morally compromised. Ultimately, the genius of the Beckhams' early image lies in how seamlessly it mirrored monarchy for a post-traditional society. In a world increasingly skeptical of inherited power, they represented a new kind of royalty, self-made, global, and media-driven. They weren't born into crowns, but into cameras. And through careful image control, emotional storytelling, and visual perfection, they became symbols of aspiration that felt close enough to admire, yet distant enough to dream about. In doing so, the Beckhams redefined what modern royalty looks like and set the template for celebrity power in the 21st century. The transformation of David and Victoria Beckham from celebrities into a globally recognized golden couple was not the result of a single endorsement or headline moment. Instead, it was the outcome of a series of highly strategic marketing decisions and cultural flashpoints that reinforced their image as aspirational, united, and commercially untouchable. Each partnership and public move added another layer to Brand Beckham, turning personal life into a powerful marketing asset. One of the earliest and most significant moments was their wedding in 1999, which functioned less like a private ceremony and more like a brand launch. The event was highly stylized, visually iconic, and media-saturated. Rather than shying away from attention, the Beckhams leaned into it, understanding that the spectacle itself reinforced their status as cultural royalty. This moment set the tone. Their relationship was not something to be hidden from commerce. It was central to it. David Beckham's early endorsements played a critical role in establishing credibility and scale. His long-term partnership with Adidas positioned him not just as an athlete, but as a global sports icon. Adidas marketed Beckham as elegance meets performance, an athlete who transcended the pitch. This aligned perfectly with Victoria's fashion-forward image, allowing the couple to span both sport and style without contradiction. Few couples before them had bridged such distinct consumer worlds so seamlessly. The Pepsi campaigns of the early 2000s further amplified their golden couple narrative. These advertisements framed Beckham as youthful, charismatic, and globally relevant, qualities that extended beyond football. While Victoria was not always physically present in these campaigns, the association between the two was implicit. Beckham's cool masculinity was complemented by Victoria's fashion authority, reinforcing their combined appeal. Perhaps the most defining fashion moment came with David Beckham's Armani underwear campaigns. These images redefined male celebrity endorsement, presenting Beckham as a luxury object rather than merely a sports figure. Crucially, this did not destabilize the couple's image, it enhanced it. Victoria's public support and her own fashion evolution reframed the campaign as a shared elevation rather than individual exposure. Together, they normalized the idea that attractiveness, branding, and marriage could coexist without threat. Victoria Beckham's strategic partnerships also reinforced their golden status. Her transition from pop star to fashion icon was supported by appearances at major fashion weeks, collaborations with luxury brands, and editorial positioning in high-fashion magazines. She was not marketed as David Beckham's wife, but as an independent authority, yet her success elevated the couple as a unit. This dual power dynamic was essential. The Beckhams were not a brand built on dependency, but on mutual amplification. Another pivotal marketing moment was David Beckham's move to LA Galaxy in 2007. This was more than a football transfer. It was a brand expansion into Hollywood, celebrity culture, and the American market. The move reframed the Beckhams as global figures rather than British icons, aligning them with entertainment elites and reinforcing their golden couple status on an international scale. Collectively, these moments reveal a consistent strategy. Endorsements were never random. Each partnership aligned with values of excellence, beauty, prestige, and global reach. The Beckhams did not sell products independently, they sold an image of perfection, unity, and modern success. In the end, their golden couple status was not simply a product of love or luck. It was carefully built through marketing moments that turned visibility into value, intimacy into influence, and partnership into power.